So today we're going to talk about how I switched from an $800 iPhone to a $200 Android phone and how I'm loving it. What's up everybody, it's PJ the Great. I hope you're having a super beautiful day. And you heard me right, I have switched from my $900 iPhone XR, I paid $900 for it 2 years ago, to a $200 or $250 Android TCL 10L, and how I've been enjoying every minute of it. Now the first thing I'm loving about it is the screen comparison. I mean, look at this screen comparison. I came from a 6.1 inch phone to a 6.53 inch phone, 828p, 1080p, full HD plus. So I am definitely enjoying that, and this phone was a fraction of the cost of what I paid for this. Another thing I'm loving about the Switch is how open Android is in comparison to Apple. I mean, I would save things on my iPhone and I couldn't find them for the life of me. I could access them on my phone, but there was no way I can get them off of my phone and onto my PC or my Mac. Whereas with Android, everything you save on this thing, you have access to, and you can take it off of your phone and put it on your PC or your Mac with great ease. It's way more open of an atmosphere than working with an Apple phone. Another thing I'm loving about the Switch is the battery life. The iPhone XR, granted, I had it for like 2 years and the battery depreciates over time. Thanks, Apple. I used to have to charge this phone at least once or twice a day to get through a day with a almost 3,000 milliamp an hour battery. This TCL 10L has a 4,000 milliamp an hour battery, and so far it's like I made it through 2 days on this phone without charging it and still had like 30% remaining. So I'm definitely loving the additional battery life. Another thing that's making me enjoy the switch of going from a $900 iPhone to a $250 Android device is the camera options. Now the iPhone XR has one camera on the back, 12 megapixel, where the TCL 10L is giving you 4 cameras. They're giving you a 48 megapixel main shooter, 8 megapixel wide angle lens, 2 megapixel macro lens, and another 2 megapixel lens. But we all know that the 2 megapixels for the macro lens is straight up garbage. But hey, 4 cameras, 1 camera. And you know what, to be perfectly honest, even though that is an added bonus, I honestly don't care because I don't use my cameras on my phone that much, with the exception of back when I bought this iPhone XR brand new, I did do a B-roll challenge with it and it was pretty awesome. And if you want to check it out, I'll link it right up here. And to wrap up the camera discussion, the iPhone XR has a 7 megapixel front facing camera, and the TCL 10L has a 16 megapixel front facing camera. Big improvement, but once again, I don't care because I don't really take selfies. Another thing I'm loving about the Switch is expandable storage. I paid $900 for the iPhone XR only because I opted to get the 256 gigabyte model, which was way more than what I needed. In the 2 years that I owned this phone, I barely even came close to using half of that storage space. Now, the Android TCL 10L only came with 64 gigabytes of onboard storage, but you do have the option to expand it by throwing in a micro SD card up to 256 gigabytes. I threw in a 128 gigabyte one, and I've been fine so far. I have everything on this phone that I had on this phone, and I still have more than half of my storage space left. So I love the fact that if I run out, I can just add more. Can't do that with iPhone. Now, I know a lot of you may be thinking this may be a little bit of an unfair comparison, considering the fact that this is a brand new phone basically, and this phone came out 2 years ago. But to be perfectly honest with you, I would pick this phone over the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 12 any day, because it gives me everything that I need at a fraction of the cost. It all goes back down to what I've been saying about PCs. You need to stop and think, what do you want in a phone and what do you need in a phone? And I stopped to think, what do I need in a phone? I really don't do that much with my phone. All I do is make and receive calls, texts, and emails. I use a handful of apps, and I surf the web. So I can do that on a $250 phone all day, every day. And I've been overpaying for iPhones when that was basically all I ever did on my phone. Another thing to note too is that, once again, I barely even take any photos or videos with my phone, and I am not a phone gamer, so I really don't need a powerful phone to do the things that I need to get done. Another thing that made this switch a little bit easier on me is that I do not live in the Apple ecosystem anymore. I used to be primarily a Mac user. I switched to PC a little bit over a year ago, so I'm not living in that ecosystem. I have an iPad, I never use it. I have an Apple Watch, I never wore it. So making the switch from iPhone to Android was very easy to me. And just in case you guys and gals didn't know, you can hook up your Android phone to a PC and it'll behave the same way as an iPhone hooked up to a Mac. You'll have your text messages, your phone calls, your photos, everything will be accessible to you on your PC. All you have to do is download the appropriate apps, which are free from the Android App Store and on your PC. So I'm not missing anything. Another thing I'm not missing out on either is when I was an iPhone user, I use Apple Pay religiously. Any chance I can get, whether it was shopping online or shopping in stores. I'm not missing out on anything because now I'm using Google Pay and it's pretty much the same experience, shopping in stores and shopping online. So I'm not losing anything. Now, a lot of you may be aware that TCL actually has more than just this phone. They have the TCL 10 Pro, the one that my friend opted to get. And you might be asking yourself, okay, sure, you don't want to pay $800+ for a phone anymore. Why not get the Pro? It was only $449. And I'll explain it in a nutshell right here. The first reason why I didn't get the Pro is I don't care about having a newer processor because of the basic things that I do with my phone. Another thing is I don't care about the AMOLED screen that's on the Pro because this screen, you may not be able to see it here, but it's crispy AF. So I don't care about having an AMOLED screen. The Pro came with 64 gigabytes of additional storage. I don't care about that either because, as mentioned, I got an SD card in here and I have all the apps on here that I had on my iPhone, and I'm still at 32 gigabytes of free space. So I didn't care about the additional 64 gigabytes of storage. Now, the TCL 10 Pro does have a better camera system, but it goes back to, like I said before, I don't really take a lot of pictures with my phone, so I didn't really care about that. And also the 10 Pro has a bigger battery. It's 4,500 milliamp an hour. This is only 4,000. I don't really care. 500 milliamp hour is not really going to make that much of a difference anyway. Plus I'm seeing amazing battery life in this phone. And the last reason is I preferred the flat and wider 6.53 inch screen on this phone as opposed to the longer and skinnier 6.47 inch screen on the Pro version. I remember when I got the iPhone XR and I started seeing all my friends getting the iPhone XS Max, I was super jelly over the big wide screen, and now I have it at a fraction of the cost. So I think it's pretty much safe to say that I am team Android moving forward. The price to performance ratio, you cannot beat it. With iPhone, you only have two choices. You got the new iPhone or a used / refurbished iPhone. The sky's the limit with Android phones. I mean, you can get them used, you can get them new, you can get them bottom tier, middle tier, high tier. The choices are endless. The price ranges go from anywhere between $100 to $1,500. So you have way more choices with Android, and that's gonna keep me on team Android for a long time. I have switched from iPhone to Android before, and within a year regretted it and gone back to Apple. I don't see that happening anymore, especially knowing that I really don't do a lot with my phone to warrant paying $800+ for one. The mistake that I've always made in the past is I paid for what I wanted instead of paying for what I needed. I learned that lesson in PCs, and now I learned that lesson in phones. Hey, if you like this video, do me a favor and give it a big old thumbs up. If you hated it, you can give it a thumbs down. But no matter what you do, don't forget to click that subscribe button and click the bell right next to it so you'll be notified every time I upload new videos. And this is probably going to be my last video of the year. I'm going to do my wrap-up video that I always do, just recapping the year. But before I do that, I just want to thank each and every one of my great ones out there that have made 2020 amazing for me. I started off this year with just under 1,000 subscribers, and I'm almost at 1,700 right now. And I couldn't have done it without the great ones. So thank you very much. And if you're checking out this video and you haven't subscribed yet, you heard the message earlier. Hit that subscribe button. All right, happy holidays to everyone and happy new year. I'll see you in the new year really soon. This is PJ the Great saying Audi 5000G.